Mari XHMX 6 adds a number of tools to Mari to align, distribute, and layout nodes. The new options can be found in the new Layout submenu of the Node Graph right mouse click menu. We have the Layout Nodes option at the top, a whole bunch of alignment actions, and the node distribution tools. Before we dive into the features one by one to cover their special cases and less obvious behaviors, let's first talk about how to best access those tools. Of course, you can use this menu to execute them or try and remember the associated hotkey that each feature is linked to. However, Extension Pack has a much more intuitive way to do this. All align options are mapped to the single hotkey Q, and which alignment you want to use depends on your mouse cursor direction. So for example, to align nodes to the top, select your nodes, hold down Q and move your cursor up. To align to the left, hold Q and move your cursor to the left, and so forth. There is another align option when holding Alt and Q and moving your cursor. That is a modification of the previous alignment tools. This one works per node stream instead. We will explain the difference between running those alignment features in normal mode and stream aware more in depth a bit later in this video, so for now just know that it's there. If you press and hold Shift Q instead and move your mouse cursor, you're going to execute the distribution or the layout nodes function instead. Shift Q and cursor up or down will distribute selected nodes between the top and bottommost nodes. Shift Q and cursor right will distribute the nodes between the far left and far right node of the selection. And finally, Shift Q and mouse move left will lay out your nodes, either just your node selection or all nodes feeding into the currently selected node. If you want to adjust the actions associated with your mouse move or reassign the hotkeys, you can do so by going to the Hotbox Manager in the Edit menu. In here, select the Mouse Direction Align, Mouse Direction Align Stream Aware, or Mouse Direction Distribute hotboxes. In the hotbox options, you can change the hotkeys associated to this, or even change the actions that are associated to these mouse directions. We will talk about later about how exactly these kind of special hotboxes are set up. So if you're interested in finding out how to set up your own invisible hotbox, you can stick around for that one. Now let's dive in and cover the different functionalities of all those align and distribution functions. As mentioned, alignment is available in two different modes, standard and stream aware. You can see here I have two different node chains completely disconnected from each other. That means each one is a separate node stream. If I select all of them and press and hold Q and move my cursor upwards, all selected nodes align to the topmost Y position. However, in a case like this, I wouldn't really want this, as I would like to align each node to the topmost node of their own stream. So let's undo and hold Alt Q instead and move our cursor up. And you can see each stream maintains its own isolated position, while all nodes within the stream align to each other. If I select only a single node and execute, for example, align left, the selected node will align to its input node. If I align right, to its output node. If I align top or bottom, the node will step through a series of different positions. So let's move this node down a bit first and now use Q and mouse up. As you can see, the node aligned perfectly to the connected input node. If I execute align top again, however, the node only moves up a little bit. This is because the align top and align bottom functions are aware of port connections and can create perfectly straight connection lines. If I run align top yet again, now the node has aligned to the connected port on this merge node, creating again a perfect straight line. And if I launch it one last time, now the node aligns with the top of the merge node. Moving on, let's talk about the new node distribution features. The first one is a generic distribute nodes action that can be found here in the menu or mapped to Ctrl Alt and D. This distribution mode takes the node that is the furthest left in your selection and applies the individual X and Y distances for each subsequent node. If I tick on the pre-align option, then the selected nodes will first all be aligned to the same row and then spaced out. The contain in backdrop setting, on the other hand, will prevent any node that is part of a backdrop from being pushed outside of the boundaries of that backdrop. You can see at a certain point, higher values simply just have no effect anymore. Next, let's talk about the other two distribute features found in our layout submenu. Other than the dialog-based node distribution, those work based on boundaries of your selection. So if I select this chain of nodes and run distribute horizontally, this and this node's position will act as the bounding box and all other nodes would be distributed in between them. So if we use our direction-aware hotkey mapping, Shift-Q, and move the mouse to the right, the nodes will evenly distribute within this bounding box. The same then is also true for distribute vertically, where for a selection like this and this node will act as boundaries. So using my Shift-Q and moving cursor up or down will distribute the other nodes in between. Both distribute horizontally and vertically are aware of the node dimensions. So for example, if I distribute nodes that are fully collapsed, I will get a different distribution than if I have some nodes that are expanded. The last addition to talk about is Extension Pack's Layout Nodes, which is available in the menu and on Shift-Q and mouse move to the left. This option is similar to Mari's autoplace option, but works either on your node selection or on all nodes feeding into your current node. Now to wrap up this demo, let's quickly go back to the Hotbox Manager and highlight the small new marking menu feature that makes these mouse direction based actions possible. Here on my Hotbox, I have a list of buttons, just as on any other Hotbox, but I don't see anything in the preview. This is simply because in the button setting here, there's no label set, and the transparent background option down here is ticked on. However, the actual feature that enables this to work is a small new checkbox here in the Hotbox settings called Execute on Button Activation. As soon as your mouse cursor goes over a button, even an invisible one, the associated action will be launched. So this is how these mouse direction based hotboxes work, and if you want to create a similar setup for other actions, you can do so using this new Hotbox feature.